You wanna go downstairs? Do you? You wanna go downstairs? Hey, Vinyl community. Elliot, Lazy Dog's Records, and there's the Lazy Dog, Mr. Chester, right there. And he's excited that we're doing a video. We hadn't done a video in a while. I know I mentioned on my belated introduction video that I'd retired for family health reasons. I retired to take care of, address those issues as they became greater, and so that's been what's going on. I'm not going into detail. I've just spent a lot of nights in a straight back chair in a hospital room, and not much sleep, but got some sleep last night, and things are looking better. Bring the wife home tomorrow, I hope, from the hospital. And so took a little time today as it's getting ready to start snowing here, we think, and thought I'd show a little video. This is going to be odds and ends, things I picked up in the last couple of months from thrift stores, on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and a record shop, the Record Crate. So what we're listening to right now is an excellent album called Peaches, and it's from the group Larkin Poe, which consists of Rebecca and Megan. Let's see, that's Rebecca and that's Megan. Rebecca plays electric and acoustic guitars, cigar top guitar, cigar box guitar, keyboards, drum kit. Megan plays the slide guitar, lap steel, and keyboards. They're an excellent 20-something couple of young ladies doing some great blues music. So I highly recommend them. The name Larkin Poe, their last name's not Poe, and their names aren't Larkin and Poe. It's actually Lavelle is their last name. They're sisters. They're distant kin to Edgar Allan Poe. Their great grandfather or something, maybe two greats, three greats grandfather, his name was Larkin Poe. So they're named in honor of their grandfather. They do classic blues, like they do John the Revelator on here. They do Preaching Blues, Come On Into My Kitchen, lots of good blues. So I highly recommend them. Anybody looking for some good present day blues. They do their own recordings as well. Got a nice presence on YouTube too. They do tip of the hat, where they just sit in their living room or bedroom or something and play the guitar and the lap steel usually to whatever song strikes their fancy. It might be an Elton John song, it might be a Phil Collins song, it might be a Krate song. There's just no telling what it is, but they do their own version of those, tipping the hat to those that came before them. I got that on from Amazon, I believe, and I also got this Elmore James. This is called The Sky Is Crying. I wonder how they came up with that name. 20 all-time original blues classics, and this is it's got 10 songs on each side. So how do they do that and keep the quality? It's a European issued album, and it's got some great Elmore James on it. Elmore James is one of my favorites. And also on Amazon, fairly recently, I realized that they were offering buy 3 albums and get the third one free. So if you bought 6, you got the 2 lowest priced albums of the 6. You got 2 of them free. So it's basically, it boils down to about 35% off or something like that. So I did that, and I picked up several albums. One of them hadn't come in yet. The Drive-By Truckers Unraveling. It's on. I think they didn't anticipate they were going to sell so many records, and so I ordered it, and it still looks like it's a couple weeks away from getting here. I think they're going to have to press some more records. Anyway, I wanted to get some jazz based on the recommendations of so many here on in the vinyl community. I picked this one up, well, there's the correct side there. John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman. Johnny Hartman's a vocalist, it's my understanding. It's on Impulse. And haven't even opened this one yet. Looking forward to it. But guess what? I buy a lot of used records, thrift stores and such. And right after that came, I was in another room where I've got a bunch of milk crates of records, and what's sitting in the front of one of them but that very album, used album. But it's all right. I've got two of a lot of records, and I don't know what condition. I haven't cleaned that used record up yet. It may not play well. If not, I've got a brand new one here. If it does, maybe I'll make a gift of that used one to somebody getting into jazz. Okay, and somebody that I keep hearing reference to from so many in the vinyl community, I'm not even going to try to name who I always mention, because I think just about everybody that knows much about jazz has recommended this artist, and that's Grant Green, and this is one of the Blue Note reissues. I know they talk about the tone poet and stuff like that. I don't think this is that, and there's like an 80 Blue Note or something. Don't know all there is to know about those Blue Note reissues, but this is his first album, Grant's First Stand it's called. And an Americana artist I'm interested in checking out, and that's Brandi Carlile, and this is her album, By the Way I Forgive You, and I have played that, and that is very good. And then John Prine, this is a covers album by John Prine, and this is called In Spite of Ourselves. It came out maybe 10 years ago, but John reissued it on his Old Boy Records label for to raise money. So I was very glad to find out that if I bought this album, the proceeds would go to a charity, Gilda Radner, who died of cancer at a very young age. You remember Gilda Radner from Saturday Night Live? Gilda Radner is Gilda's Cause or something like that, but it's a cancer research group or something, and it comes in pink, and it's all the proceeds go to Gilda's fund, and it's just great covers. Of course, the best of them is the title track, In Spite of Ourselves. He does it's duets with different country and Americana artists. Iris DeMent, he does In Spite of Ourselves, I believe. Very good. And here's a tip of the hat to all the Beatles fans out there, especially Mazzy and Rachel, who are fanatical Beatles fans. I went ahead and ordered the is it Giles Martin remastering or remixing stereo version of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band from the Beatles. I believe that was 2017 maybe, but I got that. And then I missed out at the Barnes & Noble special at Barnes & Noble, 50% off. And but I stumbled upon it. I retired almost exactly a year ago, and at a retirement party that was given for me, someone gave me a $50 Barnes & Noble gift card, and it had been sitting in a drawer. I had kind of forgotten about it. Found that, and I said, wait a minute, let's go to Barnes & Noble. So I went to Barnes & Noble, and like I said, they didn't have the 50% off anymore, but I found one album I think was left over from that 50% off, because it had a clearance 50% off sign. And so I got this, Shovels and Rope, Little Seeds it's called, and this is it's one of those albums that is 3 sides. It's 2 albums, side 1, side 2, side 3, and side 4 or side D is blank. Chester's just making a bunch of noise. He loves to chew on stuff. He's got a Diet Sundrop bottle there. I hope he doesn't try to swallow anything. Shovels and Rope, a really good band. If you're not familiar with them, check them out. Husband and wife team. I think they're based out of Charleston, South Carolina. They've been on Austin City Limits, and they're pretty successful, I think. But if you're not familiar with them, check them out. They rotate around. One of them will get on the drum kit and be playing the drums, and they'll be playing 2 or 3 instruments at one time. The other one might be playing the guitar or the bass, whatever, and then they'll switch around during their shows, playing different instruments. But I got that 50% off. And then there were a lot of records at Barnes & Noble, so if you haven't been, you might want to check it out. And it may be true at other stores. A lot of 25% off records. Little stickers on there, 25%. I got Lucinda Williams, The Ghosts of Highway 20. There's Lucinda, one of my favorite artists. Put out what I consider the best album of the 1990s, Car Wheels on a Gravel Road. And I haven't checked that out, though. I'm looking forward to hearing that. And, okay, Ricky Lee Jones. Let's go back to 1979. And she put out her debut album with Chuck E's In Love. And Danny's All-Star and lots of other good songs. Well, she's still around, and here is an album from recent years. Now, I think it's 2018, and this is The Other Side of Desire, Ricky Lee Jones. A great jazz kind of a jazz singer. I call her a jazz singer, but I really like Ricky Lee Jones, so I'm interested in hearing what she sounds like on here 20, 30, 40 years later. Okay. And I also, a while back, I went to the Record Crate in Raleigh, my favorite record shop, and saw Adam there at the Record Crate. Adam owns the place there, and we had a great visit, and I picked up 12 albums. I only got 2 from the dollar bins, and the rest I got just from the general stacks he had there. Sometimes I can get there, and if he's purged his records, pick up a lot for $1, but I don't think he purged them since the last time I'd been in there. I'm a big country music fan. Gene Watson is one of the most underrated singers I can think of, so I filled in a gap in my collection with a couple of his albums. Here's one called Sometimes I Get Lucky, and you see he's there with 2 beautiful young ladies walking in the door. Sometimes I Get Lucky with the Farewell Party Band. Okay, and this one's still in the shrink wrap. This is Should I Come Home, and there's like a great album cover right there. Gene Watson, Should I Come Home, or Should I Go Drinking? Should I Go Crazy? Then got into the 1920s and 30s and into the 40s music. I love that sort of stuff. Pre-bluegrass, string band music, things like that. None better than in the 1920s than Charlie Poole and the North Carolina Ramblers. I think I've got volumes 1, 2, and 3 albums from County, and this is a 4th one. But I've got to check. I may not have 3, and if it don't, I'll have to go back and find that one. The Charlie Poole and the North Carolina Ramblers on County Records. Looking forward to hearing that one. And Riley Puckett, I believe he was out of Georgia, Atlanta maybe, and he was one of the 1920s and 30s guitar players on the radio. And this is limited collector's edition on Old Homestead. Riley Puckett, Volume 1, Old Time Greats. And from that same era, from 1920s, more golden gems from the original Carter family. So some of the Carter family repertoire that I don't have in the other Carter family albums I have. And then I not too long ago did something on the Monroe brothers. Well, after Charlie and Bill split up, each went their own way. Charlie Monroe, of course, formed his own Kentucky Pals, I believe was the name of his band. And this is from 1944 on the Noontime Jamboree, 2 original radio shows from 1944. Charlie Monroe. Okay. Kentucky Partners. Not Pals, but Partners. Kentucky Partners. It's that band. And pre-bluegrass. He wasn't not a blue. Now, to get into the bluegrass, my favorite, probably my favorite bluegrass band, once you get beyond Flatt and Scruggs and Bill Monroe, Stanley Brothers, would be the Seldom Seen. And this is their third album called Act 3 on Rebel Records. This is during the John Starling period, my favorite period for the Seldom Seen. And also around that same time, Old Train from the Seldom Seen, also on Rebel Records. John Starling was the guitarist and lead singer for that band for many years. Great. But everybody on that band was great. And they're still around under different configurations. And a precursor to the Seldom Seen. Seldom Seen were from the D.C., generally the D.C. area. And another band, that's a hotbed of music in general, the D.C. area, but also especially a hotbed for bluegrass. Get it out. The Country Gentlemen. And the Country Gentlemen were a great bluegrass band. A lot of members of the Seldom Seen were at one time or another members of the Country Gentlemen. Charlie Waller was the mainstay in that band. It was his band, basically. And it went through a lot of personnel over the years. Very, very good bluegrass band. I haven't spun this record yet. It's on Rebel. Rebel put out a lot of good bluegrass. And then from the dollar bins there at the record crate, if I see a Ventures record and it's in good shape and I don't already have it, it's automatic. Pick it up. Love the Ventures. So there's the Fabulous Ventures. I didn't have this particular album. They do Needles and Pins, Tall, Cool One, Pink Panther theme. And I was surprised this was in the dollar bins, and the vinyl's in good shape. The cover's coming off here at the top, but that's okay. You don't play the cover, remember. This is La Jazz Cool. Charlie Parker in Historical Recordings, Volume 1, never previously released. Charlie Parker. Okay. And that label is La Jazz Cool. I knew that. I just said it, didn't I? La Jazz Cool. So Charlie Parker, the great jazz guitarist. I don't know a huge amount about jazz, but I know some of the names when I see them. Now, I've never picked up, what do they call them, the grail, the wall grails at a record shop, because I don't like paying huge amounts of money for records. I'm just kind of goes against all my principles. But this was on the wall there at the record crate, but it was only $15. So I was okay, because I really wanted. This is on Verve Records. Sister Rosetta, how do you say it? T-H-A-R-P-E, Thorpe. This is his sister on tour, and of course, she is. I can't say her last name very well, but I know that she is one of the great influences on rock and roll guitar, and wanted to give her a listen. And I figured I'd gotten a lot of records I considered at bargain price there at the record crate and elsewhere. And I thought, well, I'll splurge a little bit and I'll get that Sister Rosetta Thornton. And then, not too long ago, I was also in a thrift store. It was to raise money for Dawg animal rescue. And they were 99 cents each. So I got 16 records there in what appeared to me, first look, in good condition. Gary Lewis and the Playboys, Golden Hits. I've already got a copy of this, but I'm hoping this might be in better shape. And of course, what was it? This Diamond. Yeah, This Diamond Ring, I guess, is the one that stands out to me as a Gary Lewis and the Playboys song from the 1960s. I actually have this album already. This is a promotional copy. Pearl Harbor, Don't Follow Me, I'm Lost Too. Kind of a punk band, I believe. I don't know how I ended up with that record to begin with, but I do. One of the early records I ever bought was this album, Elvin Bishop, Let It Flow. This is his first Capricorn record. Michael Martin Murphey, couple of those. Buck Owens and the Buckaroos. Never pass up a Buck Owens record if you can help it. Doc Severinsen and Strings. Remember, Doc Severinsen was the band leader for the Johnny Carson show, the night show with Johnny Carson. Chuck Mangione concert, Land of Make Believe. This one's called. One of my former students and a friend of mine's son is starting to get into vinyl, and he was looking for Chuck Mangione, and I gave him a couple of copies that I had. So pleased that a young person is out there getting interested in vinyl. I'll probably clean that one up and give that one to him. Peggy Lee Mirrors. Peggy Lee, one of the great voices of the 20th century. Here's just like a compilation. I've gotten several of these before. Heart and Soul 50s. It's got Jim Dandy by Laverne Baker and Silhouettes, Get a Job, Clyde McFadden, Love Please, Blueberry Hill from Fats Domino. Just, you know, a little compilation. And then here's what I was really pleased at. 3 different Sinatra records in good shape. And John Jacob Niles, Folk Balladeer. This is on RCA Records. And he is singing ballads that were discovered in the Appalachian Mountains. I don't know what to think of it. I haven't played it yet. We'll see how it goes. A superb sampling of the ballads collected by Francis S. Child ballads, remember, in the Appalachians and sung by the eminent American balladeer. Now, it's not the Appalachians, people. It's the Appalachians. The Appalachian Mountains, not Appalachian. Don't let people fool you. Okay, and here's probably the most interesting one. Don't know what it is. Clean it up and find out. This is Cubans in Paris, 1930 to 1938. I don't know if this is jazz or big band or what it is, but something that old. It's a combination of people from Cuba living or visiting Paris and playing and performing. That got my curiosity up. And here's one I know several people have shown. I think Rachel has shown, and I think Randy have both shown Ian and Sylvia records, or Great Speckled Bird records, which are Ian and Sylvia records. This is a Vanguard record from Ian and Sylvia, got for $1. Early Morning Rain. So I think this is one of their early albums. They were an important folk group from the 1960s. And so that's a look at some things I've picked up recently. Remember, I've got a contest. It's ending March 1st. I'll put a link in one of these links here. I don't know which one it'll be in, to that particular competition, the rules for it and all that sort of stuff. Not many rules. Check it out. Hope you'll enter before March 1st. And I'll just remind everybody, please be kind to your neighbors. And we're all neighbors. So be kind. Don't speak a mean word to other people. If you can't, didn't your mama tell you, if you can't say something nice to somebody, just don't say anything, okay? Be good.